Tonight on News 5 Live, in the South, growers grapple with a looming death knell on the citrus industry. The PM assails the leader of the opposition on the Joshua Perdomo loan write-off. The battle for Hilltop continues. Attorney for Simplex Design says that the eviction notice stands. There is a home invasion in Placencia. A police mobile plunges into a creek along the George Price Highway. And Emmanuel Betson from Hattieville SDA Primary School wins the Belize District semifinal round of the Father Marion Gainey quiz on the Credit Union League. Details of these stories and more coming up in tonight's newscast.
With over more this October with our spooktacular next-gen deals. Enjoy 1 month free on any
Your family, your future.
Welcome to News 5 Live for Thursday, October 17th. I am Marlene Cuellar. Tonight, the Prime Minister, Dean Barrow, is blasting the letter by opposition leader John Briceño a day after Briceño wrote to him. That letter by Briceño, dated October 15th, was on the Joshua Perdomo $40,000 loan write-off, and it got the better out of the PM. Barrow tells Briceño that his letter is, quote, weaponization of falsehoods, unsustainable conclusions, and downright dishonesty, unquote. The PM says that at the time the motion was first presented, Briceño was not aware that Perdomo was the son of the cabinet secretary and is using that fact to score points off the public outrage. It was the responsibility of the Ministry of National Security to collect the Perdomo loan, and the ministry failed for 9 years, he says in a very lengthy letter. According to Barrow, the ministry would have been unable to sue him in the United States for a Belize case. And if the Ministry of National Security had found a way to sue him in Belize and won, there would have been no way of enforcing the Belize judgment in the United States. The bottom line, says Barrow, is that all material times and for multiple reasons, the debt was uncollectible. The PM tells Briceño, quote, also, do not be in too much of a rush to preen and give yourself props for having supposedly located Joshua Perdomo. Once the matter became notorious and scandal-driven, all sorts of informants in our home and diaspora societies were bound to come out of the woodwork. But by then, your having remained dumb at the time of the presentation of the motion, it was too late, unquote. And then it gets personal. The Prime Minister states that what is malfeasance is, quote, your gifting at knockdown prices and without competitive bidding acres and acres of government of Belize lands to your father, uncle, brother, and yourself, unquote. The PUP consideration to institute court action against the write-off is a ship that has sailed, says the PM. Barra calls on Briceña to appeal to Perdomo to pay the debt. The letter does not address the guarantor of the loan, who is Perdomo's sister, nor does the PM make reference to the motion, which he presented and recited that Perdomo could not be located, thus the write-off. There is a looming death knell over the citrus industry in southern Belize, signaling that the livelihoods of hundreds may be hanging in the balance. Millions of dollars and years of investment are on the line. As we reported on Wednesday, the problem has been exacerbated by the Citrus Growers Association's inability to discharge its obligations to the growers, potentially driving them out of business from one of the most important industries in the South. In tonight's story, we look at one of the main problems challenging the close to 300 growers. Production is dropping by the tons, putting at risk any ability to export the fruits. News 5's Isani Cayetano was in the valley and has the following report.
Teetering on the brink of insolvency, the Citrus Growers Association finds itself in a precarious situation, falling short of its obligation to its membership as well as the factory. Plant World Nursery, a facility where citrus plants are grown commercially, is owned and operated by CGA. The garden center, which up to now has been described as a glimmer of hope for the beleaguered association, is one of several suppliers to Citrus Products of Belize Limited. As part of that arrangement, the plant sales outlet was contracted to provide 85,000 saplings to CPBL for replanting this year.
In the instance of nursery trees, we buy those from the nursery providers. You got about 4 nursery providers, 2 of them being the CGA and Agricultural Development Services, which are the 2 bigger ones, and then you have some smaller nursery providers. We buy from all of them. The thing with that is now, though, that when you're not able to get plants, that's the challenge that we currently have right now, it does create a problem for us because, one, we're not able to maintain the schedules that we have set in terms of our planting program.
And therein lies the other problem. Plant World Nursery has been unable to satisfy CPBL's order, notwithstanding a 50% down payment at roughly $8 per plant. Chief Financial Officer Kent Herrera explains.
We had 85,000 HLB tolerant plants. They have represented to us that we might be able to get, I think, about 45,000 of that up to January 2020, and then we'll get the balance in June 2020. The initial plan, the initial program was for us to have gotten all of those plants by the end of October this year. And so far we have only gotten 6,000. And so you could see the problem there because we have already cleared over 1,000 acres of land. And in some of the areas that we had planted before, and we felt that we needed to replant. And all of those areas are cleared now, and we're waiting for plants.
That delay, however, comes at a steep cost to the factory.
What is the value of that fruit, of that tree not being available for an entire year? 3 years' time, those same 40,000 trees should be delivering to you a quarter of a box of fruit. On the 4th year, it should be giving you a half of a box per tree. And on the 5th year, it should come up to at least 1 box per tree. Take the box, and every tree gives you that, and it's 40,000. And then you know what is the price of a box of fruit, averaging $15, $16, whatever the price is, depending on the year. You then appreciate then how production is affected, and revenue stream for CPBL is affected by that 1 year delay.
On the other hand, CGA seems quite optimistic that it has been able to reduce a $29 million debt to $17 million, without telling its membership how it has been able to do so. The unexplained debt servicing raises serious questions.
We can all pull figures out of the air, but the black and white of the details need to be forthcoming. And even if it's not audited, because the CGA does not have the money to do an audit, let's be real. But there is enough QuickBooks information that as growers we are prepared to look at. But the question is well grounded. If you have done such a good job, and I would credit anybody with moving from 29 to 17, paying off $12 million, where if you can share that formula, then you can tell us how you're going to retire the other 17. We could work with that. But if you, in the process of reducing your debt or debt management, you cannot pay your light bill, you cannot pay your staff, you cannot pay your creditors, then we don't have the luxury of time for a long-term plan. This is an immediate situation.
In appreciating the urgency, seasoned grower Anthony Chanona, who attended the October 11th meeting with PM Barrow, has been tasked with putting together a plan that may be able to turn things around for the battered association.
I believe, in all sincerity, that the government of Prime Minister Barrow and the Ministry of Agriculture under Godwin Hulse, if we were to devise a workable plan, a manageable plan, a realistic plan, a pragmatic plan, they will help.
Reporting for News 5, I am Isana Cayetano.
The Public Service Union is pressing ahead with a legal challenge to regain its former Hilltop headquarters in Belmopan. The PSU has been issued a notice to vacate by attorney for Simplex Designs, Esteban Pereira, the legal owner of the property after it was sold by the Belmopan City Council. The PSU has been given until October 31st to move or be forced out. The PSU, however, says that it will stand its ground as it says that it has come in possession of a critical piece of evidence that can determine the case positively for them. The union has acknowledged that Simplex Designs is the legal owner of the land, but says that the process in which it was sold is illegal. While the PSU has issued 2 press releases addressing the matter, the union has yet to communicate their position to Simplex Designs.
We have sent the notice to vacate to the PSU, and we are awaiting the 30-day period. They do have until the end of this month to vacate or to send us what their position is. We have noticed the 2 press releases that they have put out. We have not received anything formally from them or their attorneys, and so we are waiting to see what would be their formal position in respect to that matter, but we haven't heard from them.
The president of the PSU mentioned in an interview, he said that Simplex Designs is the legal owner of the property.
Yes,
however, the process is flawed. It was legal in terms of the sale. What do you make of that?
Well, again, we don't know what exactly they are referring to at this point. We are hoping that at some point they will send us something formally. We've only heard the same thing that you've heard, but that's not a legal position, and we don't know what exactly or what grounds they're standing on. Until they respond to our letter indicating what their position is, I won't be able to see exactly what they're thinking at this time.
They're claiming equitable interests, I think the president mentioned.
Yes. We noticed that there was a mention of that. Again, that is not very specific. Equitable interest under our laws could mean an array of different interests. It can range from an interest that would be some kind of improvement that they possibly did to a number of other equitable rights that I could probably name for you, but again, I don't want to speculate as to what their position is or what specific equitable interest they're referring to until they send us something legal putting forward their position.
Pereira says that if the deadline passes and the PSU has not vacated the property, a court order will be pursued to have the union moved out. According to Pereira, the process can take anywhere between a couple of months to a year.
The way it works is that we send a notice to vacate, and then you give the parties 30 days notice. If they fail to vacate, then you are able to go to the court and file an eviction claim, where you're asking the court for an order that the parties be evicted from the property. But you need to send the notice. There is a requirement to send the 30-day notice to those parties. Our position is quite straightforward. Our clients are the owners of the property. They've purchased the property, and they are now seeking for the PSU to be removed from that property. There is no doubt that they, at this point in time, hold the legal title to that land. The main thing that's concerning to our client right now is to deal with the eviction order, and thereafter they'll deal with the other matters. The process is that once the time period has passed, we will file the necessary claim, and the court process would start. That could go from anywhere between, I'd say, 3 months to possibly extended to a year.
According to a news report in the New York Post, U.S. national Christopher Prestipino found refuge in Belize after he murdered a model in Las Vegas. His stay in Belize lasted a week, after which the murder suspect headed back to Vegas, where he was picked up by the police. The victim is Esmeralda Gonzalez, who from all accounts met a horrible death at the hands of her boyfriend. She'd been missing for months, and then her body found last week along with a U-Haul dolly. The news report states that the young model was injected with pool cleaner and then strangled. Prestipino allegedly told a friend that he had tied her to a bedpost, poisoned and strangled her. He then transported her encased body and had to use a truck to transport her. Prestipino is expected to face a slew of charges, including murder, first-degree kidnapping resulting in substantial bodily harm, and a conspiracy to commit murder. Police say they haven't yet identified the men who robbed the Zetro Western Union outlet in Orange Walk Town on the Belize-Corzal Road on Wednesday. While cops say that they are following several leads, they're still looking for the getaway vehicle and the two criminals. Sometime close to 2 in the afternoon, 2 robbers are captured on camera as they entered the business. Thereafter, they stole an undisclosed amount of cash and made good their escape in the red vehicle. Here's what police shared with the media today about that robbery.
Police visited the business establishment where a report was received that 2 male persons entered the establishment with firearms. They held up the security guard and proceeded to rob the cashier of an undisclosed amount of cash. Both persons then made good their escape in a SUV vehicle which left from the area.
Sir, do we know anything about these 2 persons? Were they maybe doing surveillance days before? What do we know about them?
We do not know at this time. Investigation is ongoing. That is the information we have. They came there and they robbed the business establishment and fled in a vehicle. We are looking for 2 persons and are trying to recover this vehicle.
Nothing to suggest maybe collusion with someone from inside the business?
Not at this time.
A group of police officers and soldiers this morning escaped injury after the police vehicle they were traveling in plunged into a ditch filled with water this morning. It happened at around 11 o'clock near Hatfield Village in the Belize district. No official report on the matter has been provided, but we understand that the vehicle was traveling to Belize City when the driver reportedly lost control after trying to avoid crashing into a dump truck. The vehicle swerved and plunged into the ditch. The vehicle was pulled out with the use of a backhoe. Coming up, as the citrus industry grapples with insolvency, the sugar industry is bouncing back.
Improving lives, delivering quality, water for you and me.
In this season of KTV Latino, you can vote for your favorite contestant by using your Digiphone or your smartphone. Digi users will text only the contestant's number and send to 5888. Each text sent is equal to 1 vote, so text as many times as you want. Smart users will text the number of votes followed by a space, then the contestant's number and send to 5885. Here are this week's contestants.
Oye mujer, yo solo quiero darte un beso, no más. Quien se pueda rendir por fin y que corra la historia sin rencor. Ni tu amigo, ni tu amante, ni tu perro, ni tu hombre. Que coma mucho cunduco, así como su papá, pa' que sea un buen cemental, así como su papá, y que coma mucho garrobo pa' poderlo. Me va, me va, me va, me va, me va. Hacer amigos, andar caminos, me va, me va. Si tú no estás junto a mí, no puedo cantar.
Remember, voting ends on Sunday at midnight. KTV Latino Season 4. It's hot, it's live, and it's only on 5.
KTV Latino.
While the citrus industry is in crisis up north, the sugar industry is rebounding. ASR BSI has been attempting to get locally produced sugar into the tightly controlled CARICOM market. Now, the regional market is importing sugar from other regions to satisfy consumption needs, but getting Belize's white sugar has been a huge challenge for years. According to ASR's Mac McLaughlin, there is hope that a breakthrough may be on the horizon. News 5's Isani Caetano reports.
Regional policymakers from the sugar industry, as well as manufacturers and government officials, met in Belize City on October 2nd to discuss the future of the Caribbean sugar industry. The meeting touched on matters relating to trade, production, and product development, including technical challenges in using CARICOM direct consumption sugars in the manufacturing process. Director of Belize Sugar Industries Limited, Mark McLaughlin, attended that meeting of stakeholders and provided a perspective on what it means for the Caribbean community.
For the last 2.5 years, we have been taking this discussion about how can we better utilize CARICOM product in CARICOM, produced things in the region. So what tends to happen in CARICOM, because of a sort of historical journey that we've been on where a lot of sugar used to be exported, of a market of about 300,000 tons of sugar, demand in CARICOM, around about 200,000 tons is imported from outside the region, generally in the form of refined white sugar. Even though producers still produce somewhere between 450 and 500,000 tons of sugar, it doesn't seem to make sense and it doesn't stack up, because why not use CARICOM sugar in CARICOM production?
The Council on Trade and Economic Development, COTED, mandated that the meeting be held in which the findings of an independent study indicate that plantation white sugar can be and is being used across the industrial food and beverage sectors, regionally and internationally.
We have had a number of COTED meetings on this issue in the last couple of years, and that we have followed a process, and the process was basically established to look at the uses of the sugar that we produce here. And a study was called for and paid for by the Caribbean Development Bank to look at the substitutability of the mill white, plantation white sugar that we produce in the region and the refined white sugar that's being brought in from outside the region, and to see whether there's any way in which this sugar could be substituted by CARICOM sugar. The report that was studied at a COTED agriculture meeting 2 weeks ago came up with the analysis that mill white sugars and even direct consumption brown sugars are used extensively for all manufacturing around the world, and including here in Belize.
The issue of common external tariffs is also central to the sugar market in the region, considering investments that have been made across the Caribbean.
For sugar producers to invest a lot in upping their product, in making sure their product is the right product for industrial users of sugar, there needs to be some certainty on the common external tariff issue for that investment. So what the outcome of COTED was that the CET should be fully applied on refined white sugar, provided that the regional producers of sugar can meet the quality and quantity demanded by industrial users. And that, in many senses, is a halfway house to where we need to get to in the future. It gives sugar producers an incentive to invest in the right kind of quality product, have the conversations with industrial users to ensure that we're matching the demand with the supply.
The findings of the report will be carried forward to the upcoming 50th meeting of COTED next month and will inform a decision on proposed changes to CARICOM's tariff policy. Reporting for News 5, I am Isani Cayetano.
The dispute between several families and businessman Alex Chang over 6 acres of land in Belama Phase 4 in Belize City remains unresolved. Chang, through attorney Brandon Usher of Williams Law Firm, filed legal action against 8 families whom Chang says are illegally occupying his land. The dispute commenced in January of this year when Chang served several of the families with notices of eviction. While some of the families relocated, others remained. Before the legal action, mediation was attempted among both parties with the help of politicians, the UDP's Freetown Standard Bearer Urson Elrington and Area Representative Francis Fonseca. After mediation fell apart, Elrington says he stepped back to leave both parties to settle the matter on their own.
No idea, as you know, at the last instance, I tried to intervene on behalf of the residents. When they refused the assistance, then I decided that I would just step back from the position. So I have not followed up on it after that. Okay. It is between two private parties, and I was trying to act as a mediator between them. When one of the parties refused that mediation, then I obviously decided that I would step away, and it is between two private parties for them to deal with that.
They remain on the land, however, though.
Some of them stayed, some of them moved. So that is, again, it's different persons, and so some remain, some moved.
There was a home invasion on Wednesday night in the south where an elderly resident came under attack. According to police, 3 men armed with a shotgun entered the house at mile 19 on the Placencia Road, where they tied up the occupants, including a 90-year-old woman, and stole a computer and a vehicle. The vehicle was later discovered abandoned in the Placencia area. Gilberto Romero of the National Crimes Investigation Branch tells us more about this aggravated burglary.
Police visited the residence where it was reported that 3 dark complexion male persons came into the house, tied up the occupants of the house, and proceeded to steal a laptop computer and also stole a Ford Escape SUV vehicle. The vehicle was later recovered near a resort. The investigation is ongoing at this time.
They gain entry to the home?
Oh, they came in from the front door.
The door was unlocked?
The door was not locked, no.
Okay. Police say that they don't have any suspects at this time. Since enacting a statutory instrument on September 4th, government as well as stakeholders in the public transportation sector have been monitoring developments within the industry where Guatemalan and Mexican buses are concerned. On Tuesday, all sides met to discuss the existing state of affairs since the passage of legislation to regulate foreign buses entering the country. Attorney General Michael Parafit provides an update on how the hotel industry is being affected by the changes.
A couple of months ago, the Bus Association made certain demands of the government, and we decided to meet with them to have a discussion on the issue. What they were requiring wasn't unreasonable, but clearly it was something that would have benefited them greatly. And we have no problem with doing anything that would benefit Belizeans. And it would benefit the Belizean bus owners to the expense of the Guatemalans and the Mexicans when it came to bus runs. We had no issue with that. And when we passed the SI and we signed it into law, then the Hotels Association and the tourism industry on a whole came to us and said, look, we have no issues at all with the Belizean government passing legislation to benefit Belizean bus owners. However, from a hotel standpoint in particular, it affects us negatively, because then no tourists may not want to come on those buses. They may want to use the Guatemalan buses instead of the Belize buses, and they would like to be given a choice. So what we told the Hotel Association and the bus owners accepted was that we would have the SI in place for a while, we would see how it was going, and then we would reevaluate it from time to time. So on Tuesday, we had a meeting with the bus owners and the Hotel Association and the Tourism Ministry, and it seemed that everything was going very, very well. There were even compliments to us that, you know, bus runs have been improving, the people are appreciating that they're doing better business, and that is going to give them more incentive to do better and have better and improved buses in the future to serve the Belizean public, especially not just the tourists.
According to Parafit, the statutory instrument has since been amended to reflect additional changes. The revised SI, he says, has been forwarded to Transport Minister Edwin Castro.
Owners have graciously, in a meeting on Tuesday we had with our sides, they said, listen, we appreciate fully the effect that it's having on the hotels in Belize, and in conversations they've had between Tuesday just past and a couple of months ago, they agreed that they would allow for charters to come into the country by foreign buses. However, once the people are here in Belize, they would then have to use local transportation to get within Belize. So those two changes to the current situation had to be reflected in the SI. Immediately, the AG's ministry went into drafting mode, and we have drafted the amendments, and today we sent those amendments along with the past SI and the current one to the Minister of Transport for him to sign. So what we have done, we'll be repealing the whole SI, bringing back most of it with these additions, so you'll only have one SI reflecting the changes that we agreed to on Tuesday. So that is what is going on now, and we are very grateful that we could come to some sort of agreement.
A young domestic from Hattieville, Gertrude Mejia, is on remand at the Belize Central Prison for the offense of maim. Allegations are that on October 12, 2019, she intentionally and unlawfully caused maim to Virginia Logan in Hattieville. Mejia appeared before Senior Magistrate Teresa Pitts Anderson and was represented by attorney Norman Rodriguez. There was no objection to bail, which was granted in the sum of $6,000 plus one surety of the same amount. But Mejia was unable to meet bail, so she has been behind bars since Wednesday. Logan told police that she was walking in the village and she was followed by a group of women. Among them was Mejia, who she claims swung a machete that caught her on the hand. Logan sustained chop wounds to her fingers, which were almost severed, and is likely to impede her movements. 3 seasoned Belize City fishermen who have been living in the fishing business for over 50 years each appeared in court on fisheries offenses they are disputing. This morning, Oscar O'Brien, Mena, Conrad Williams Daniels, and Edward Main were arraigned before Senior Magistrate Aretha Ford for partially and fully processed undersized conch found on board a vessel named Genie. Mena was charged for possession of undersized conch and possession of 24 fully processed conch weighing 2 3/4 ounces in weight. He was additionally charged with possession of 5 partially processed conch, which did not exceed 5 ounces in weight. For the fully processed conch, Mena pleaded not guilty, but guilty for the 5 processed conch. The fisherman explained to the court that the conch weighs less when it is cleaned than at catch time. Senior Magistrate Ford has deferred sentencing of Mena on the guilty plea, and his next court date is set for November. As the Daniels, he was read a charge of possession of 10 partially processed conch, which did not exceed 3 ounces in weight. Maine was read a single charge of possession of undersized conchs and 20 partially processed conch, which did not exceed 3 ounces in weight. All 3 fishermen pleaded not guilty and intend to fight the charges. After the break, Port Loyola residents line up at the YMCA to clear up land issues.
Smart introduces Real Unlimited postpaid plans, providing customers with unlimited talk, unlimited text, and
and musical entertainment by No Fair DJs. So make it out to the Bliss every Tuesday night at 8:30 and enjoy the music show everyone's talking about. Get your tickets at Channel 5 on Coney Drive, 88 Shopping Center, and Smart Office on Albert Street. KTV Latino Season 4, it's hot, it's live, and it's only on 5.
KTV Latino.
The long lines and the slow process at the Lands Department are well known to persons who have to head to the capital to work out land issues. So now the ministry is coming to the city to sort out those perennial difficulties faced by landowners. The UDP Port Loyola hopeful was at the YMCA where the folks from Lands were collecting information from residents of the area. News 5's Hippolyta Novella dropped by and has the following report.
Having a land-related matter addressed and having to travel to Belmopan to the Department of Lands can be a hassle many would wish to avoid. UDP Standard Bearer for Port Loyola today made it easier for constituents of the division to have their concerns recorded and addressed. Philip Willoughby today kicked off a 2-day land consultation at the YMCA grounds. The first day was well attended, says Willoughby.
There's a constant flow of persons coming in to register their concerns. So I am grateful that the constituency is taking advantage of this opportunity to resolve their long outstanding matters. We hope that this afternoon we have the same steady, constant flow of persons coming in with those concerns, and we hope that they come in tomorrow likewise, because this is for them. What this does for them, it alleviates them from spending liquid cash. I mean, you have to take the bus, eat, time off from work, leave your home, leave your kids, leave whatever situation you have to go to Belmopan to probably spend a half day or a full day to deal with your situation. So now all of that has been averted because the staff is here.
According to Willoughby, the purpose of the consultation is to allow the residents to access representatives of the ministry to address issues of land tenure in the area.
This collaboration was fostered in the likeliness to bring some sort of resolution to those persons in the constituency who have land issues. So today, the frontline staff that you would meet at the ministry are here collecting those information. Hearing myself and the commissioner will be briefed, and then actions will be taken on behalf of the constituency, or advice will be given on how we will proceed to deal with these matters, and then we take it from there. What the frontline staff is basically doing is taking their names, their numbers, and the concerns, and that is how we will get back. That is the medium we will use to get back in touch with the resident of the constituency in conveying the information or the process that will be utilized to resolve the issue at hand.
Willoughby says that the consultation is open to all constituents of Port Loyola, despite political affiliation.
If I can facilitate anyone through this medium, I'll do so without any reservation or reluctance to assist anybody. Race, creed, culture, religion, because you don't know people with religious background don't even vote. I'm not here to screen or profile anybody, because remember now, if the constituents were to go to the lands office here in Belize City or Belmopan, they wouldn't even know if they are their political affiliation or whatever. So here's the thing: you have a land issue, regardless of who you are, as long as you're from the Port Loyola constituency. That's the only thing. You have to be from here, and you come over and we will address the concern or the need as it arises by the frontline staff. And I would lend my advice also.
The consultation continues on Friday. Reporting for News 5, Hippolyta Novello.
Philip Willoughby also wants to host a consultation on the production of industrial hemp. Willoughby says he is in contact with respective ministries and representatives to have the consultation held next month. According to Willoughby, the purpose is to have the residents of Port Loyola interested in hemp production, since it could be beneficial.
We will be having a forum, if we can put it together and finalize it by next month. Okay, so if you are interested, please stay tuned and come and get the information, and let's see how myself and who are those interested entities can come together to make it work. I feel as though it's a good idea, it's a good move, it's positive, it's job creation. Once you want to do it the right way and you want to be positive, I will support that. So let's engage and discuss it. And the second initiative will be for those persons who don't know how to read and write. It is my intention to put together a survey, canvass the area, figure out who would be interested in learning to read, write, and do basic maths, and then we would be seeking to provide classes for those persons who are interested.
When we come back, a young student from Hattieville tops the Father Gainey quiz.
It's just 1 minute. Nico, it's just one raindrop. It's just 1/10 from pole position.
It's the Food and Rum Festival in Barbados. And we learned about sustainable tourism in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's all next on Caribbean Passport, right here on this station.
Schools in the Belize District took part in the revived Father Marion Gainey Primary School quiz competition. The two winning students are from Hattieville and Belize City. The pair will now move ahead to the national competition in November, which teaches the students at an early age the benefits of financial literacy. News 5's Dwayne Moody reports.
12-year-old Emmanuel Betson of Hattieville SDA Primary School wins the Belize District round of the 2019 Father Marion Gainey Primary School Quiz Competition. Second place goes to 10-year-old Anjali Hedage of Holy Redeemer Primary School. The two came out on top after several rounds of questions and answers centered on the credit union movement in Belize. A total of 11 schools participated in the competition.
Sometimes I play. My mom tell me, stop play, get the paper. But sometimes I still not listen. And sometimes I might miss out. And I continue study until I get everything. And then I come first.
How do you feel that you have won this competition and you go on to represent Belize District in the nationals?
I feel good.
It's very complicated because teachers pull you out from lessons during classes, and after you have to get all that work done and everything, and then also prepare and read questions and remember those answers, and lots of numbers, lots of names.
But you were ready, right?
I was.
The competition is underway with district competitions happening across the country. It will all culminate on November 22nd when two primary school students from each district will converge for the national competition and bragging rights as champs. Today at the Belize Elementary School Gymnasium in Belize City, the Belize District semi-final round was convened. The competition was recently revived and the mission is to teach the youth about financial literacy.
This was a quiz competition that used to be held long ago. And I think about 5 years ago, the league revived it, and Holy Redeemer Credit Union is in charge of the Belize District, and we have our sister credit unions up north doing in the north and in the west and in the south. And then we all come together under one national competition, which will be held next month. These children will be the future of the credit union movement, and we need to let them learn from an early age about saving. That's why I think we're introducing financial literacy. I think the central bank, I think the Ministry of Education, the Credit Union League, we're all, and individual credit unions, we're all promoting financial literacy so that people from an early age know about budgeting and savings. Those are the two major roles of financial literacy.
But knowledge aside, the participants also walked away with backpacks as well as electronic devices and cash The school also get cash prizes.
There are prizes for both the students and for the schools. I think there are lots of tablets and all those high-tech stuff which I don't know anything about. And there are also cash prizes for the students. And then the winning school gets $1,000, runner-up gets $750, and third place gets $500. And other gifts. Each student gets a gift bag with all kinds of goodies in it and a participation certificate. And of course, the top 2 students get the opportunity to represent the Belize district in the nationals.
Dwayne Moody for News 5.
Every year, the third Thursday in the month of October is celebrated worldwide as International Credit Union Day. Credit unions around the globe organize a range of activities today to commemorate the occasion under the theme Local Service, Global Reach. Here in the country, the Belize Credit Union League and its 9 member credit unions are putting off several activities which will culminate with a convention on Saturday at the Belize City Civic Center. News 5 caught up with the executive director of the league, Corinne Robinson Fuller, at one of the many events organized by the Holy Redeemer Credit Union. She gives a retrospective on where the credit union movement is decades after it got off the ground.
At the end of the week, we have a convention every year. So on Saturday, the league and all the affiliates will be coming together for an educational session and fun. This year it will be educational and fun. We'll have a convention at the Belize Civic Center.
Where is the credit union movement in Belize so many years after, decades after it?
All right. We have over 168,000 members. There are 9 credit unions and they're all affiliated with the league. So we are really a united movement. There is over $1 billion in total assets amongst all 9 credit unions. So credit unions have really grown over the years. And one of the things that they focus on is meeting the needs of their members. This week we had several of the employees who were on the radio and on the television talking about how credit unions are important to regular people. You know, you go to your credit union to get that loan to build your house, to send your children to school. If you're ill and you need a loan, you also get that. With the credit unions as well, your beneficiary gets up to $5,000 if you die, once you meet all the criteria of the credit union.
With a collective membership of almost half the country's population, what is the future of the credit union movement in terms of the services it offers to its member owners? Corinne Robinson Fuller of the Belize Credit Union League says that they have received their license from the Central Bank of Belize, and come 2020, 7 of the 9 credit unions countrywide will be able to access the national payment system. She speaks to the benefits of this new feature.
There's one significant event that we're all looking forward to, and that is for credit unions to be a part of the national payment system. And that has been one of our objectives for the last couple of years. It is finally coming true, and so we're expecting that in the new year, 2020, that we will have all credit unions, 7 of the 9 credit unions coming together to participate in the national payment system. So that will allow a credit union member to transfer monies from their account to another financial institution's account. Also, it will allow a member to transfer monies from their account to another member at another credit union as well. So that is a big thing that we're looking forward to. We've been working on it for a long time. We finally got our license from the central bank to operate a system, and now we are working to meet the access criteria so that we could be a part of the national payment system.
Coming up after the break, the Belize High School to host the first National Lego League competition.
As one of the largest cable and internet providers in Belize, CBC strives to provide our customers with the highest standards of quality, value, and service in all aspects of cable TV and internet, monitoring our systems closely.
The Belize High School is moving robotics up to another level. A national competition is in the works, and teams from across the country are encouraged to participate in the event, which takes place in January. But even before the National Elementary School Robotics Competition, a team from BHS is heading to Dubai to compete in an international competition where the Sea Empress will be put to the test in collecting micropollutants in the water. Here's News 5's Dwayne Moody.
Today, the folks over at the Belize High School launched an appeal for primary schools from across the country to field a team of 10 students and a teacher mentor to be a part of its first LEGO League in Belize. The National Elementary School Robotics Competition is an initiative that the secondary school is thrusting in an effort to further robotics in this generation. Jamie Usher, principal of BHS, says that the program began over the summer when students were brought in for a first-hand experience in merging building blocks and coding using arithmetic.
We are calling for 10 teams to join a robotics competition called First LEGO League. And First LEGO League can take 10 students and 1 mentor. Your registration will include a kit, and in the kit will have a mat and some different LEGO pieces to build. And then your team will need to get a robot. You work from now until January. In the middle of January, we'll be having all the teams descend on BHS campus for a national competition. The winner of that competition will be dubbed the first ever First LEGO League Team Belize, and they will go to represent us in USA.
3 schools already signed up are Belize Elementary School, Garden City, and Island Academy Primary Schools. There is a misconception, however, that robotics is a difficult field, but Standard 4 student Taylor Bradley says it's quite the contrary. He took an interest having played with Legos from a young age. He's convinced that his peers and even persons in their adult age can be engaged in robotics.
To me, it's easy, and I think it's a good way to teach kids how to build robotics and how to program, so then if they wanted to do stuff like IT, in the future, it would be easier for them.
You would advise other kids from your school, from elsewhere, to do the same? To participate in it?
Yes, I would advise them. Although some kids might not like Legos, but I understand that and they might have differences. So I'm just saying, I'm not going to force people to do it. I'm just advising it out of my own heart.
Belize High School has been a trailblazer when it comes to introducing robotics at the secondary level. In fact, for the second year in a row, a group of students have been selected to represent the country in an international robotics competition in Dubai against over 190 plus teams from other countries. Team Belize leaves on Sunday, but we got an inside look as they made final tweaks to their robot, the Sea Empress, which is designed to collect micropollutants in water.
It's a little unbelievable. We still can't believe that in a couple days we'll be on a plane with our fully built robot. It's really unbelievable. It took a lot of trial and error. So like building something, realizing it doesn't work, it doesn't fit the guidelines, having to take it down or tweaking it. It's a lot of engineering and programming too. So a lot of the programming aspect was there too. And we hope that our robot it's sure to do what it's supposed to.
We're preparing to compete against other, I believe 190 other countries. And we have been preparing since August, I believe. And we're going, there's a specific game we're going to be playing. And our goal is to get into the top 30, which is the semifinals. But ultimately, obviously, we're out there to get the experience and come back to Belize and share that experience with the people here and get robotics known in Belize.
Dwayne Moody for News 5.
The Museum of Belize is launching a portrait exhibition called The River of Art Flows Everywhere. Taiwanese artist Yaoling Lee, who has been living in Belize for over 2 decades, is showcasing more than 20 paintings featuring watercolors, oil, and charcoal art. Lee, who has lived in Belize for more than 20 years, has exhibited her work in Taiwan, Mexico, Belize, and in Europe. The exhibition opens on Friday night and runs for a month at the Museum of Belize, beginning Monday and ending on Saturday. The project is being funded through Niche's Cultural Development Fund. The media got an early look at the exhibition today. Here's more from the artist Yaoling Lee.
You can see the background here. We have those charcoal portrait in charcoal, and also the portrait in oil on canvas, a little further away if you can see it. And also we have the figure. I have motion sketch in charcoal as well. Also I have anatomy study in charcoal and also in oil on canvas. And then I have some new study in oil on canvas and also in watercolor. Yeah. And
what inspired these pieces?
What inspired me? I've been doing those things for a long time, 20, 30, 40 years, yeah. And it's an accumulation of work. I work constantly, and but I change subjects sometimes. Like I might spend 6 months on portrait. I want people to understand the importance of working for life. It's very important to understand working for life. And to answer your question, sometimes we need to do it, to explain so people can understand. And that is the reason when I'm working with the museum, I'm offering workshops based on my artwork. So the students or adult who is interested in working for life, they can understand actually how it works. And they can participate and understand actually doing it to know how to do it.
To complement the exhibit, Lee will be hosting 4 workshops starting next Saturday. Workshops will also be offered to high schools and primary schools within Belize City on October 25th and November 1st at the Museum of Belize. Lifting weights can make a difference in your exercise regime. That's coming up in Healthy Living.
With over 100 years of service excellence in Belize, the Belize Bank Limited recognizes the importance of leading the way as we enter into this
report with a global perspective.
Jogging, cycling, and even walking are considered forms of exercise that can improve your overall health. It is recommended that you should incorporate at least 30 minutes of physical activity 5 days a week to maintain your health. But if you're on a weight loss journey, even with a diet, it may not be enough. Strength training or lifting weights can be the missing ingredient to your weight loss journey. Tonight in Healthy Living, we find out more about its benefits. For many of us, when we think of weightlifting, the first image that comes to mind is a buff bodybuilder pushing or lifting heavy weights. But strength training does much more than build muscles.
It's for everyone. Their grandma can do it.
Personal trainer Keanu Chaplin says it's all too frequent that people shy away from lifting weights.
I mean, somebody who is 75 with some kind of chronic illness or a back injury wouldn't be lifting 100 pounds, obviously. But that doesn't mean that they shouldn't strength train. I find a lot of people are more interested in cardio just because, they want to sweat. But what some of them don't know is that the strength training actually helps with burning fat just as much as cardio does.
Lifting weights does stimulate muscle growth, and as you build muscle, your metabolism increases, which means you start burning more calories even while at rest. Beyond the weight loss benefit, strength training also helps to strengthen the skeletal muscle, which aids us in our everyday movements.
It actually induces muscular contractions, and that helps you to really build physical strength. It helps you to build anaerobic endurance, and it increases your skeletal muscles as well. Simple things like lifting a box might be impossible for somebody who doesn't really strength train. And you'd find that after 3 weeks of doing it, you can lift a box you would be struggling with if you hadn't been training.
One of the popular misconceptions about lifting weights, especially for women, is that lifting weights will make you look muscular. However, that's not always the case.
What I always tell them, when they come with that is that, you'll know what feels best for you. And at any point, if you feel like that's your limit, tone-wise, muscular-wise, I'm okay with that. I don't really push it beyond what, my clients are looking for. Rule of thumb is don't rush it. This is a journey. If you're thinking to join the gym because you want to look muscular, you want to look buff or I don't know what in such a short time or by a certain time, that's not quite the way to go. Exercise, whatever it is, should be a lifetime kind of thing. It should be an element, just like we drink water, just like we breathe air, just like how we eat food. Exercise, whatever it is, like I said, should be one of those elements. Secondly, you have to be very aware and wholesome awareness, being aware of your surroundings, being aware of how you're feeling during the workout, being aware of your form, of your breathing especially.
Physical trainers like Keanu can help with form and guidance. Ideally, the best exercise program for improving body composition and health includes both cardio and weights.
It improves your appearance, of course, and your entire mental state of being. Knowing that you're physically stronger somehow makes you mentally stronger. Good. Emotionally stronger, so you're all connected.
And that's the news. Don't forget that tonight's broadcast is available in both text and streaming video at channel5belize.com. You can also connect with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/News5Live. I'm Marlene Cuellar. Thanks for joining us, and from all of us here at News 5, good night.